What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube. And today I've got another edition of The Drive-In, where I watch recently released movies and tell you guys whether they're worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. Today I've got another of the underrated gems in 2020 for you guys. Been kicking off 2021, doing a lot of the underrated 2020 horror films. And this is my second review of the night that I'm recording here. If you guys get a chance, by the time I think that I upload this one, I will have my review for Anything for Jackson uploaded. So if you guys want to see my take on Anything for Jackson, go back on my channel and check that out. There are future videos to come as well. My second review of the night here on the Drive-In is 2020's Swallow. This film initially came out in some festivals, I think in France in 2019. It made its debut here in the US in 2020. And it was one that I didn't really see until like November or December. It was toward the end of the year that I saw it. And I pretty much had my top 10 horror for the year kind of mapped out. And then Swallow and a few others came along and really changed my perception, because this is one of the more deep, dark psychological films of the year. You guys know I love my psychological thriller horror. Those are the kind of films, I should say, that I make. And this film really struck me as one of those psychological cringeworthy films. This film runs 94 minutes, so it's a pretty quick watch. And although there are scenes that are elongated for tension's sake, the pacing is really good. Like I said, there are some scenes that purposely linger just to make you kind of wonder what's going to happen. There are some things that make you, they stay on certain shots for a long time for an effective scare sense, but the movie itself is paced really well and goes pretty fast. So I would say for 94 minutes, it is well worth your watch. It's currently, I believe, on Hulu, so if you got Hulu, check it out. It is well worth seeking out. But Swallow from 2020 was written and directed by Carlo Mirabella Davis and stars Haley Bennett. And this combination works really, really well. I've never seen anything from Carlo Mirabella Davis, but I love the direction here. The direction is clear in this thing. It is a character-driven, minimalist story, which makes the most out of what it has. The story essentially is a woman that has the pica disease. Pica is a disorder that makes a person want to swallow or chew on or feel in their mouth inedible objects, things that you should not put in your mouth or chew or swallow. So right away, you can tell where the tension comes from in this film. Haley Bennett, I've seen before in a few other things, and she just continues to get better and better and better. She is the single biggest part of this film. Haley Bennett's acting in this is so realistic, and the character is so well put together. And you see the deterioration of what this person goes through and why she wants to give into this pica disorder and how she has to fight it. Basically, you find out pretty early on in the film that she is pregnant, and so she's got a baby in her stomach. And the story essentially is Haley Bennett's character, who is named Hunter, she lives in what you would think would be a lap of luxury. She has a big, beautiful house, well-to-do husband, aristocratic family. She's got a very well put together life on the outside. But the family kind of doesn't listen to her. She's shouted down often. The husband suppresses her emotions and doesn't listen to her. So while you think she's got it all together on the outside, she's being suppressed and she's being shouted down and talked down to and condescended on the inside, and her whole life is just about her not having a voice. So because she doesn't have this voice, she turns to any kind of comfort she can find, which then becomes her putting these hard, metal, sharp objects in her mouth and swallowing them, hence the title of the movie. Not giving too much away there. And I will talk about this spoiler-free. It is a newer film. It's on Hulu, so if y'all want to watch it, I'm not going to spoil it. But you find out very early on, this woman is pregnant, she's being suppressed, and she turns to this pica disorder. She gets enveloped by it and starts to put very non-edible things in her mouth and in her stomach, which of course cause the danger for herself and her child. And that is a terror that is all too real. Sometimes in horror, you have all these things that aren't realistic. You have all these jump scares and different demons and ghosts and killers and undead things that don't seem realistic, and it's just a fun movie, and the horror is just jump scares and stuff like that, or gore, stuff like that. But in this film, it's a very real disorder that is portrayed in a realistic way with a very realistic character, Hunter, played by Haley Bennett, who delivers this in a very tense way. All of the emotions in this and all of the actual scares come from long scenes where she has these things in her hands that she's debating. Do I or do I not put this in my mouth? Do I or do I not try and chew it? Do I or do I not swallow it? So you've got these very, realistic slow burn tendencies that are happening on screen that are just horrifying to watch. I am someone who can pretty much watch anything from 70s exploitation to 80s slashers to 90s whodunits to ghost films, whatever. I can watch whatever. I've seen it all in horror, but there were several times in this film, being someone who's kind of afraid of like needles and sharp objects and getting cut, I had to look away because the violence and the palpitation was too real. The story is built on these slow burn moments that make you have to look away because you're afraid for the future, and you can see all through the eyes. There's very little dialogue in these scenes. It's just Haley Bennett in a room with objects, and in these scenes there's no dialogue, and there's really not even much sound design. It's just Haley in a room with these objects, and you're just watching her consider in her mind what to do. You're watching the story play out in her emotions, in her eyes, in her mouth. You're just watching her react to things, and her acting is so good that it makes it really tense and gross to watch and very unsettling. Also, I've got to say, this film is shot beautifully, from the location of it and the house they chose in this thing, also to the amazing coloring they did. They did a couple things where they put some coloring things on the windows to make certain environments. So you're getting a lot of sharp colors. You're getting a really well color graded film in the editing process. You're getting a well shot film where they do a couple different things with camera angles and turning the camera and stuff like that. So you've got beautiful locations and a beautiful camera shooting it in a very unique and fun way. And they've got some really cool artsy shots in there mixed in with the regular positive camera work. So I really enjoyed the way it was shot. So basically, if you want a realistic, she's not the only character in the film, but she's the character that carries and has a lot of scenes by herself, and she makes it work. So if you want good acting, a well-shot film with good colors, a realistic disorder portrayed, again, if you have triggers, you might be aware of this. If things like pica and sharp objects trigger you, you might not want to watch this. Things with pregnancy, stuff like that, you might not want to watch this. But if you like psychological thrillers with powerful acting and good camera work and good lighting, you're going to like this film. So I recommend you go check it out. I'm going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this. It was in my top, I think it was my 7th ranked best horror film in 2020, 7 or 8. So I think it's well worth watching. 94 minutes. It's on Hulu. Go check it out and tell me in the comments below what you thought. If you've seen the film, please talk to me in the comments. If you have not seen it and you want to check it out, go do that and come back and tell me in the comments what you think of it and what other films you would like me to review. This is my last review, I believe, for the night. So please check out my Anything for Jackson review and this review. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like these deep dive reviews and you want to see me do more films. Suggest films in the comments, and please like, share, and subscribe. Horror fans, stay scared. I will see you soon. Happy 2021.